Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of 51 Stories of Emotional Wellbeing with Emotional Ability Resources. Today, I have with me Sophia, who is a spiritual healer and somebody who has transformed the lives of over 20,000 people. So, welcome to my show, Sophia. It's a pleasure to have you here with me.
Thank you so much, Pragati. Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
So, tell me a little bit about your childhood and some of the struggles that you have faced to emerge into the beautiful woman that you are today.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for this platform that I'm able to share this with you and with all the viewers here. So I basically come from Manipur, the northeast state, and I studied there. I did my schooling there, and then I moved to Bangalore to study my further college life and then master degree and completing my studies in Bangalore. Yeah, so if I have to say a little brief about my childhood, so both my parents and I have my younger brother, so only two of us, and we had everything. Like as I was growing up, I had everything in my life, nothing to worry about, only girl child and very pampered child in the family. But there was this moment in my life in the school where I think that was the first time I experienced being embarrassed in front of people. I really didn't know what you call embarrassment, but I remember I was in sixth standard, and there was this teacher of mine who came in and just barged in the class and just told me that, and in front of everyone in the class, that, hey, don't be friend with this girl, and like pointing out finger at me and saying that don't be friend with this girl. And and i and this teacher stays just very close by to my house, and somehow she had some misunderstanding with my parents, and I don't know whether it was something that she had some grudge and she wanted to just uh, you know just take it out, that grudge, on me. I have no idea why she did that, but at that moment, for a 11-year-old and a girl, that was the moment where it shook me, like, why did she say that to me? And that kind of embarrassment in my life I've never experienced. And that embarrassment has actually uh, impacted me hugely, where I said to myself that uh, maybe I'm not a good person, or not good enough person, or not a good enough student, or something is lacking in me. Probably that's why the ma'am is saying that, because I had no idea what was the context behind, of course, but that moment, that was the thing I was telling to myself. And that moment, I became somebody who was very suppressed, introvert, not really, you know able to express my emotions, my feelings. I became very suppressed child after that incident. And so everywhere I used to go, I was like, okay, I used to have this very few limited friends and just be smile, very shy, not really mingling with everyone. So I became like that kind of person. And yes, as I started growing up in my life, and series of event also happened where uh, there was this moment when I was 19-year-old. I got diagnosed with this genetic disorder called macular degeneration.
Mhm.
I was probably in my fourth semester in my college, and when it got diagnosed, and at that moment, for a teenager girl, it was a shattering moment, or I think I would say all my dream that I had about my life, that kind of dream that I planned, and I always want to do, become a get into doctorate, or I was studying biotechnology at that point of time, and my favorite subject was genetics, and I really want to go and study abroad and do my research and things that you plan, right, when you are in that stage. And when that moment came, when the doctor said that you have to really take rest, and maybe this is something that you have to uh, this is going to be there forever, there is no treatment, you have to just take precautionary action, but there is no specific medicine to even cure for this.
Mhm.
At that moment, it was such a shattering in moment for me, that I just couldn't take it.
Mhm.
And I thought my life was over at that moment. And plus my parents was like super freaked out, and they like, I think you should just quit your studies, like don't worry, just take rest, do not go out, like, you know, take rest, be at home, why you have to even complete your graduation, come back. So I had multiple surgery happened, multiple injections that I had to take in my eyes. And uh, so this is particularly like, you know, I have this central vision of my eye, which is little bit of vision is gone, and I have this peripheral vision which is strong. So the beauty of the human eye is that when both the eyes see together, you can, like, it compensate, and then you can see things very clearly. But medically you can say that I'm partially blind person.
Mhm.
But yes, this how that incident has really given me a kind of mental trauma at that point of time, because I have no at that point of time I was like given up. I said, oh god, I think all my dream to become a doctor and all of that and get into a doctorate degree and all of that was shattered. And I still remember there was days I was like sit and cry for no reason, like cry for no reason. And I was there, my mother is like, you don't have to cry for this, we're there for you. But then for me at that point, even my parents are not understanding me, why am I crying, like, no, I'm crying because I think I lost my life like that. And but I remember when I went for my third time surgery, uh, after the surgery gets over, I had to be in the hospital room for 48 hours, pitch dark room.
Mhm.
And I was not even allowed to, like, there is a zero bulb, not even zero bulb was there. So it's a pitch dark room. I have to stay for 48 hours because the medicine that I take and the injections that I take, it's something which is very photosensitive. So uh, I think on that second day, like 48 hours made the second on the second day, there was this thought came out of nowhere that right now I have at least something to see. I still have not lost my whole vision. I still have saved my, 70% of my vision, even though I have lost 35%. And somewhere that thought gave me the strength to face this very powerfully, because I started appreciating my every moment about my life where, oh, I have 70% to see things. I mean, I don't know what will happen tomorrow. What if I lose completely? And I have no idea if I don't have to, if I lose my eyesight completely, I have no idea what is going to happen. But for sure, right now, I am thankful that I have 70% of my eyes, which is perfect. I can see it, I can do things, everything is normal, everything is fine. And that kind of um, that thought, that one thought of being grateful of having what I have has really changed my life into different perspective of looking things. In fact, uh, in the hospital bed, I was all alone, and there was no attendant, and there was no one to. I mean, in fact, no one is allowed to even stay in the room. It was just a nurse who was coming and attending me. So obviously, when you're lying down, you have so many thoughts keeps coming up, right? And that one thought has changed my life of being grateful of what I have, and being grateful of everything. Like, I'm grateful that my parents had the money to even, give me this life. Otherwise, the surgery, the injections are very expensive. One injections I was paying 1 lakh rupees. So pretty expensive. Not everybody could not afford that. Thanks to my parents, they could do this for me. And I started appreciating everything in my life. And that has given me the strength to fight even now. Like, even now I go every year for my regular checkup. And every year my doctor, my that's the same doctor who's been seeing me. Every year she sees me and she says that, she says that I get inspired by looking at you, the way you have been dealing things so powerfully. And she said that this is a disease that happens at the old age but doesn't happen in the young age. At that point when I got diagnosed with this disease, um, at that point it was like 1 in a million it affects to the young generation, like younger age. And that 1 in a million was one of me. And the doctor was used to tell me my doctor used to tell me that don't worry, everything will be fine. And then she has literally seen me growing like from my college life till now. And she kept telling me that like the way how you have handled it, it's so powerful, so amazing, and all the things that you have been doing in your life and achieving in your life, she's like amazing woman, amazing doctor. So that's how my journey started, fighting with the mental health, the trauma that I went through. The only thing that helped me was being grateful of life itself, the life that I have right now, being grateful about it. And then uh, the second um, the second incident that happened that has really shattered me, I would say, or broken me into pieces, or I would say that hit me into the rock bottom, was this. I started a business in my hometown, and this business was related to supplying oxygen. And I did this with a vision of that a lot of people in my state cannot reach the hospital on time because of the lack of oxygen, and they would die. And this oxygen supplying thing is something that I thought it would help so many people. And I started this with one of my a friend of mine, and I really liked the idea itself when he came and pitched me this idea. So for me, it was like he's a very trustworthy person, and then we can start this together and perfectly all right. And as we started for almost like 6 7 months, the business went really good. We were doing campaign, we were doing a lot of work, and it's not that the amount of money that we invested, we got it, but then at least little bit of revenue also started coming in. So it was like pretty good. But after like 7 8 months, that's where things started, very mischievous things started. Like the accounts used to be like, when I go and check my accounts, somehow the money used not to be balanced properly. I used to go run behind the CA and say that, okay, what's happening in the accounts? I don't see it. What's happening? And I was staying in Bangalore. I was not staying in Manipur. And this on my business partner was in Manipur. So I was like literally given everything. So I was the silo business partner, and he was the one who was taking care of it with the trust that he's taking care really well. And then suddenly I get a call from somebody else, like some of my client who was my vendor, saying that they did not receive payment. And for me it was like, how is that possible? Payment just happened. Like I was like, payment just happened, how is it possible? So it was surprising. So like that such moments started happening. And the thing with me was, because I had so much of trust on my business partner, that I did not even think that something could have been could have done wrong. And I really did not think like that. So what happened was, when this vendor called me up and said, hey, you know what, we did not receive this paycheck, or money is not come. You are one of the business partner, and literally they were putting on me, saying that you pay the money because your other business partner is not picking up the call. And I had to face so much of humiliation and embarrassment. And when I reach out to my business partner, he stopped picking my call, he stopped answering. That was something, it shook me. Like, what really happened? Like, I have no idea about this. And he used to tell me certain things which was definitely not the right thing, and I used to buy whatever he used to say. But then I started investigating what really happened. And then after the investigation, I realized that he has misused a lot of funds, and he has taken money from a lot of people. And I was not aware about it. A lot of money has to be paid, which was unaware about it. And I was just the secondary director and just doing the silo work. But then he was the main director and main founder. But at the end of the day, when people are not able to reach out to him, they were reaching out to me, and I was like going through all that humiliation and embarrassment. I had to face embarrassment from my friends, from my parents, because my parents started asking me, what's happening with you, why are they doing this? And there were just like, my close friends, a lot of my close friends, 2 3 of them helped me out financially also at that point of time. And they did, invested certain amount of money at that point of time, and I had to repay even them too, right? They, whatever the investment they have given. Now for me it was like slap on my face of literal learning of whom to trust in life. And and then he stopped really picking up, and even now I have no idea where he is. But I really work day and night. Like, I used to have 3 jobs, Pragati. I used to, like, morning, I am a sales consultant, so I used to do consulting work and working with other jobs. So I had this 3 job in a day, work so hard day and night, earn the money, and I paid back all the money to the investor.
Wow.
And I think that's, I'm in tears. But I think that's something taught me a lesson,
Mhm.
right? So the lesson that I learned was, not because I should not trust people, but the lesson was I learned was being responsible about what are you into. The only thing I missed, in fact, I would say, the when I started inquiring myself, because I really hit the rock bottom at that point of time. And when I started inquiring myself, why this happened, how come I missed it out? And the only answer that I saw was I was not being responsible about my finances. And I can sit and blame thousand things to this guy, but I realized that blaming him is not going to give me any answer. The only thing what I was looking at, what did I miss out? Like, what did I really missed in that entire process? And the only thing I missed was not checking my accounts, and not being responsible about what's going on, given the fact that okay, he's there, so I also took it lightly, like, oh, he's there, he'll take care. But then it was also my company, and I could be more responsible. But thankfully, sooner or later I came to know, not literally, not like, after so many things happened, it's not like that, but at least at the early stage, I started inquiring and started understanding what really happened. I don't know, thanks to heaven or thanks to God, I don't know whom to thanks that day. But really, there was some unknown force who really opened things up for me. But uh, that that moment when all of these was happening, I was really going through a mental trauma. I was going through depression. For almost like 7 months, I shut myself out from people. I was not talking to people. I pushed people away. There were friends of mine trying to reach out to me, and I have no idea what to talk to them, because i had I had zero courage to even go and talk to people, to even express myself at that moment. I had zero courage. And I was sitting and blaming myself whole throughout this entire 6 7 months. I was just blaming. Oh, I did this, I made I have, oh, why did I do, why me, all this, that famous thing, why me, why this happened to me. So I was also doing that. And uh, there was this news that came out of nowhere, that when the Cafe Coffee Day owner died, and the news that he took his own life. I think he made a lot of impact in my life, because while I was working in a corporate bank, I was in the banking industry before this. While I was working, I was taking care of his account, and I knew them pretty well. I also know the people around who are their directors and all of that, and I met them, and I know that guy is like so dynamic, so like inspiring person. When I see him, I was like, this guy has achieved everything in life.
Mhm.
In spite of that, he took his own life. What have I done that I am putting myself into this? And for me, that has impacted, in fact, I would say that has really gave me the strength to pull me out from that. It was, of course, there were people who supported me. I have no doubt. There were good friends in my life, especially one of my very good friends, Jessie and Vidya Sagar. These two friends were throughout this journey who took me, supported me. Rest of the other friends, so I'm telling you, they would have like given up and they're like, oh God, what happened to her? But these two really didn't give up. And that moment when I saw the news about him and gave me this question that, Sophia, what have you done so far that you are thinking to give up yourself, giving up your life, giving up everything, giving up your dream, that the kind of dream that you dreamed about. And I think that was the moment I started seeking out help. And I went to took some help from the counseling session, took some session from them. Of course, it did help me. Thankfully, it was not something like, oh, I went into some clinical depression, but I was getting into depression because there was all these symptoms all around me, and I was not aware that it was this two friend of mine who really knocked my door and said that you've got to come out of this. This is not you, Sophia. Literally, they used to like hit me and say that this is not you. You got to fight back. You got to come out of this. And I think that gave me the strength to also fight. And of course, my parents has been a huge support for me. I mean, if these two guys are both my parents are not there, then I don't know where I would have gone, because they have supported immensely in every step of my life. And uh, this my friend Jessie introduced me to this transformational program called Forum, Landmark Forum, and then I did that program. And at that moment, right, this was happening 6 years ago. At that moment, I was like ready to take anything on my plate. I was like, let me help me to come out of this, like that. Literally, there was this willingness for me to fight. There was this willingness for me to come out of that situation, come out of that mental thoughts that was going on. And anything that came my way, like I did this program, then I went into intense healing program that I went through. All the gurus and the mentors that I have met in this process of my life or healing myself, I can't thank enough, because who am I right now is because of them, and who am I right now is also because of the event that happened in my life. And now I'm very grateful about that happened. Now even in fact I'm very grateful to to my business partner, because of him I have learned this huge lesson to really fight back, not giving up, giving the strength, and also able to handle things very maturely and distinctly, not handling like, oh, not like blaming to people, blaming the event, blaming myself, but literally being responsible about what did that I miss out, like you being responsible for your life. That is one lesson I learned in this entire process.
Actually, that's a very nice point that you've made. Most of the time we all blame the other person, but
Yes.
The lesson to be learned is, what did I learn? Was I being personally responsible? And once we are able to invoke wisdom into our lives, I feel even challenges turn out to be learning experiences where perhaps we've grown through them, right?
Absolutely. That was the thing that gave me the power and the strength to deal with the situation. Because I was like, I can sit and blame till I die. But what am I going to get out of it? Like, that was the question I was asking to myself. What am I going to get out of it? And I can be responsible for my life and also be responsible about what happened what happened, what all the unfortunate things that happened. I am responsible about my health. I am also responsible about my business. I'm responsible about my finances. I'm also responsible about the well-being of my family, well-being about myself. So being responsible was something did not occur to me like, oh my God, it's a pressure, it's a burden, where a lot of people take responsibility as a pressure. But for me, being responsibility gave me the power to fight, to fight back, and it gave me the strength to really see things in a different perspective. Otherwise, though, I mean, we can sit and blame throughout the day. We
Very,
can sit.
very well said, and also I like the fact that, at such a young age, with the support of friends and even news, we read news in the paper, we hear things, but we just let it pass through us. We never really think of how does it personally impact us and how could we work on ourselves to stop something to happen to us. Now, you had mentioned earlier that you had a very unfortunate incident while growing up, right? Did that
Mm.
impact you later on in life also?
Yes, yeah. I mean, thank you for asking that. Yes, it did, because of that event that happened, and I became so suppressed.
Mhm.
I That suppression was there throughout my life. That was something I discovered in my entire healing process. Also, like when I was healing myself, I discovered this, that I suppressed myself. I suppressed even while I was unwell. Like when I got diagnosed, I could not even express to my mom and dad what I was going through inside. I was suppressed, not because they were not supporting me, because of what happened in my childhood. And then I was suppressed even to express my, feelings and emotions during when I was going through this business crisis,
Mhm.
and also being suppressed to even go and express to my business partner at that point of time. I was like, I don't know, what do I have to say? Like, so helpless I was very helpless person at that point of time. And yes, it did impact it. And then I realized this because um, when I did the landmark forum, and I saw that in my life, that everything in my life was my own creation.
Mhm.
Because otherwise, how do we live life? We live life, oh, my circumstances is like this, oh, my external factor is like this, oh, my parent doesn't support me, oh, the situation is like that, oh, how can I do this is not in my favor. But everything that is happening in my life is because of me. And I saw that because when the sixth standard, when I was in sixth standard, when that embarrassment moment happened for me, at that point of time, I said to myself that I am not a good enough person, and not maybe I'm not a good enough student or a good enough girl. And nobody said that to me, by the way. Then I was introspecting myself, that who said that to me? Nobody said to me. It was me who said to myself. So that's another second important learning that I learned, that most of us, what we end up doing is we speak a lot to ourselves. More than we speak to others, we speak so much to ourselves. And what we speak, I became very mindful about, because I started noticing that the 11-year-old girl spoke to herself that I am not good enough, when it ran throughout the entire life of my life and suppressed my emotions and my feelings because of that 10-year-old girl. And right now, at this point of time, I see myself that, oh, I got to be mindful about what I speak to myself. Because
This
what
is a
I
very
speak.
nice point that you brought. People sometimes comment, like your teacher perhaps had an allocation with your parents, which you were not aware of. So she
Hmm.
came and she said something. Whether it was right or wrong is a very separate issue. But it's about how the young child in sixth standard took it as an excuse not to feel good enough, And a lot of times, as children, we start doubting ourselves, and once these
Yeah,
narratives get stuck to us, I think lifelong we create situations where we feel we are not good enough.
absolutely. You're so right about it. That's what I discovered. And because of that interpretation that I made out of that event, I was living inside of that interpretation like a reality for my own life.
Yes.
And and then when I discovered that in reality this doesn't happen, there is nothing called good enough. I mean, I can't show you good enough to you. There is nothing called good enough in reality. And when I saw myself that was an illusion and an interpretation that I interpreted out of whatever that happened, inside of that interpretation I created another interpretation of being shy, being introvert, being, suppressing myself, that are all the result of that interpretation.
And very rightly you said, a school of thought in psychology calls these thought patterns as engrams. Certain things that we learn in early childhood, they kind of resonate throughout life, or, we don't even realize it, and yet they come time and again to haunt us, or,
Yeah.
impact the choices that we make in life. So, how did you move beyond that? And did this feeling of not being good enough impact your relationships also as an adult?
Yeah, it did. In fact, of course, as an adult, even you end up meeting people, and I was also in a relationship, previously, and in my past relationship, it showed. It is like I was not good enough girlfriend, right? I was not good enough daughter. I was not good enough sister. I'm not good enough in everywhere. So that showed up, no doubt about it. And when I start, and then comparison happens, and like, oh, this person is more better than me. Oh, I am not good enough, so let me be like that. So it's like very tiring process. It's a very tiring process of proving yourself all the time, and a very tiring process of um, proving yourself that you're capable enough and you're like good enough, and but because you end up telling that you're not good enough, so you do such a hard work, and everything that you do in life is only hard work. So it did reflect in everywhere, like in everywhere. When I say everywhere, in my work and my relationship with my people around me, it did reflect it. And that got even reflected even my business, even in my relationship with my partner, right? Of course that relationship did not work it out, of whatever the reason was, but I could see, as I reflect back, I could see that the girl who were in that relationship is none other than a not good enough girl.
So, how did you get beyond this mindset of not being good enough? What emotional ability resources did you use to reach this zone of emotional well being that we see today?
Yeah, so one thing what I use is, I started inculcating certain practices. Now, one thing I have learned from my mentors that I have met in my life, that without practice, there is no transformation in life. So the first practice that I started practicing is meditation, and meditation, not just the fancy meditation thing. It's just meditation of bringing your life as a, there's a well balance, like there is a balance in your physicalness, balance in your emotions, reflecting your life, that not good enough is a story that you're creating. Not good enough is not reality. And that realization happened from the meditation practices I've started practicing, from the I'm also a mindfulness coach now. I'm a certified mindfulness coach. So in my entire training program that I went through, I saw that how important living life mindfully. That's the practice that I started to, like, mindfully thinking, mindfully talking, mindfully eating, mindfully walking, mindfully even, things that I talk to myself, the lot of self talk that we do, uh, unknowingly. When I say unknowingly, like consciously, unconsciously, we do a lot of self talk. Even then, I you won't believe, I have in my phone, I have these occasions that I have made,
Mhm.
5 occasions in a day, where I interrupt myself
Mhm.
and I stop all my work. So I have the first occasion I have in the morning is between 9 to 9:15. This 15 minutes of time, I stop all the things that I do, and then I sit and I think, at this moment, what am I doing mindfully? And at this moment, what am I talking to myself? At this moment, what thought is arising? At this moment, what is going on in my body sensation, my feelings? And recognizing that even if I'm upset, let's say I'm upset today, recognizing that upset as an upset. That upset is nothing to do with me. That upset is not me. No, human being cannot be upset, or human being cannot be anger. That's an emotion. So distinguishing or recognizing it as a upset as an upset, anger as an anger, and just being present of who am I? Like, okay, this is what I
Basically,
am.
what you have been really doing is mindfully connecting to your source, your
Yes.
inner being, and
Yeah.
using your inner voice to be one of affirmation and positivity rather than, an inner critic who's constantly criticizing or making
Yeah.
you feel that you are not good enough. And this psycho spiritual bent of mind is something which research has shown really works. We have a lot of spiritual leaders who definitely have shown that spirituality works. And
Yes.
like you really demonstrated, all we have to do is probably just put a reminder on our phone and take that 15 minutes out.
It worked, Pragati. For me, I was like, we use so many videos, motivational videos, so many things are out there, but it's nice to listen. But then how am I going to inculcate in my life? How am I going to practice this? Like, the practice is what was missing.
Mhm.
So when I look into what practice that I am going to bring forth in my life, so that there is transformation in my life, in terms of how am I conducting myself, how am I dealing things powerfully with every situation that comes in my life.
Mhm.
It comes with practice. And it's not like, oh, you have to sit throughout the day. No, you can just like make an occasion, like put an
Absolutely.
alarm, put an alarm and just say, okay, this is the time, let me just do. So this one thing. And the third practice that I started practicing is being disciplined.
Mhm.
What I started observing is that I don't know about others, I have zero discipline in life. When I say zero discipline, uh, I don't do what I say I would do. So at a certain time, I would do just my like, Are, today I have no mood to do, like, or we go through like, I'm not in a good mood today to even do certain things. So we go through moods.
Yeah.
We go through life with moods. We go through life with thoughts. Some thoughts came, and then we are going through that. And I started recognizing that I have no discipline to train my mind and live my life, the kind of life that I want to live powerfully. It requires discipline,
Mhm.
and bringing that discipline in life needs discipline itself, no doubt. So that came, with the occasion that I created.
Mhm.
And one thing, probably, this is something that I also started discovering, this, like, when I was 10-year old and I said to myself that I'm not good enough, and I became a not good enough person, then I was like asking, oh my God, word has power.
Mhm.
Like, when I say I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. Then why would not I say something nice to myself?
That's so well put, that
Yeah.
a lot of times we are our harshest critics. And if we are mindful, we actually can be the best motivators that we need to be in our own lives. So, if you had one word to describe Sophia, what would it be and why?
Compassion.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think that's the one word that I think I see myself as, that love and compassion. And the reason why I see myself, that who am I as a love and compassion, is, um, that wasn't there. Like, I had no love, I had no compassion
Mhm.
to myself, towards myself. There was zero self love. So whatever I was doing throughout this journey was beating up myself, being a victim of the situation and the circumstances, and making myself that I'm a helpless person. But that's not me. I am someone who love to share love and compassion, but I have never given that love and compassion to myself. So once I started giving this self love, started healing myself, started coming out from seeking help from from others, and there is nothing wrong asking for help. Like, it is okay not to be okay. It is okay not to be like fine. It is okay when you have bad days, when you have worse days. It's perfectly all right. Nothing is wrong. And giving that space and the acceptance of who you are, embracing your the bad side and your good side, embracing the wholeness of who you are, that you are whole, complete person, and you're perfect. There is nothing wrong with you. There is nothing for you to change or fix anything. And giving that kind of love to yourself. And only when I became that, or only when I started giving this love to myself, I was able to spread and give love to others. And even if you have to tell now, like, when you have to speak about my business partner, and even if my business partner would come in front of me right now, I would have immense compassion for him. And the only reason is that what made him to do this, imagine that he must be suffering so much from inside, that he end up doing such kind of, you know he end up taking such kind of action that has made him to do this. And that gave me so much of compassion to deal with. And compassion doesn't mean that oh, come and bury me, and you can do anything or take advantage of me. No, it is also about knowing your boundaries and keeping that healthy boundaries, and when you know when to say no and you know when to say yes, and you have that compassion at the same time.
I think what you're really saying and what I'm understanding is, if I were to paraphrase, it's about embrace your humanity.
Absolutely.
When there are challenging situations or people let us down, understand that something in their life is going on that makes us, face the heat that is coming our way from them. But
Yeah.
really, it's all about what we think about ourselves, and how we choose to interpret a particular situation and the thoughts that we choose about it.
Yes, absolutely. It's really embarrassing. Right? Sorry, it's really as you said, what we do is we end up beating ourselves up,
Mhm.
and we end up beating other people up,
Mhm.
and we don't have room for humanity,
Yeah.
even for ourselves and even for others.
Very true. And I think the only way forward towards a journey of emotional well being is embracing our collective humanity, And it has indeed been a pleasure chatting with you, Sophia. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. It's been lovely.
It's been lovely, Pragati. It's been lovely because thank you for giving me this platform to share about my life, and also to talk about, like, it's all right to have, if somebody is going through mental trauma or anything like that, it's all right. And you have every space to go and express. If I can come out, anyone can come out. If I can deal with things, then anyone can deal with things. So thank you so much for having me here. Thank you so much.